Okay, good morning. I will call the organizational meeting for Wheatland County 2016 to order. Yes. Oh, okay.
Motion
Just,
for attendance?
sure.
Where would you like that?
Well, it's just, we just noted it in the record that
I'll make
Mr.
a,
Chance regrets, yeah.
make a motion that Alice be excused from this meeting. I said I make a motion that Alice be excused. Alice isn't coming today, so she would like a motion to excuse her today if possible. So I don't know where that happens because it's an organizational meeting, so it has to be done on the beginning, I believe, does it not, Margaret? Well, I just did it, so.
Okay, we'll make it noted in the record that Alice sends regrets. Okay, voting procedure will be by consensus. And we'll start off with nominations for Reeve. So I would call first off if there's any nominations for Reeve. Councillor Armstrong? Oh, I'm sorry. Motion to adopt agenda? Armstrong? All those in favor? Carried. Nominations for Reeve? Glenn Kester, okay. Is there any other nominations? Third time, is there any further nominations? Okay. Seeing none, I guess we'll declare Glenn Kester as Reeve.
Okay. We'll go carry on for nomination of Deputy Reeve. Bernice?
I'll nominate Ben Armstrong.
Okay. Any other nominations for Deputy Reeve? Any other nominations? Third call for nominations for Deputy Reeve. Not seeing any, I declare Ben Armstrong Deputy Reeve. Congratulations, Ben.
Armstrong, swear that I will diligently, faithfully, and to the best of my ability execute according to the law the office of Deputy Reeve. Thank you.
Okay. Next, it says adoption of the agenda, but I think we did that already. So we'll go down to 2.1, 2017 draft calendar, proposed meeting dates and times. Everyone got that? Page 2. Starting in January 10th. Still basically the same type of format we had last year.
I'll move that we maintain the schedule as it shows, with exceptions that are voted on whenever, but basically the same.
Yeah, okay. Any questions or concerns? All in favor? Carried unanimously. So that covered A, B, and C, I believe. All three meetings are on that calendar. Annual ratepayers meeting 2017. Any ideas?
Mr.
Annual ratepayers meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I guess I make a suggestion. I know that we did have it in Cheadle one year, and we did have it in Gleason, correct? No, Standard. Standard the first time. Did we have it in Gleason yet? I think Gleason was the next one up. And then, so on the rotation, we were thinking Standard, Cheadle, Gleason, Rosebud, and then maybe Carsland. But I think we did this year was in Cheadle, right? Yeah. So I think probably more to the east part of the county, Gleason or perhaps Rosebud.
What's your choices? Doesn't matter?
I like going out to the communities. I don't know if you guys like that, but rather than have it here, people go to the community halls more than they would come here perhaps. But
Well, it's nice to get out and about too.
I think part of it is, we did the Rosebud ASP, so there was a number of meetings in Rosebud in the last year, so I think maybe Gleason might be a good opportunity, because it is one of our
It's been a
biggest.
while. Maybe we might, it depends when we have the meeting, maybe have some dirt moving around down there too.
That's the other thing with the regional water line, we can maybe inform them a little bit more about that.
Yeah,
If that makes sense. I don't know if the area councilor has any.
Well, I'll move that the annual meeting be scheduled, depending on availability of the halls, sometime in March, April, March, and that it be Gleason or Rosebud, Gleason being the preferred. Gleason or Rose, huh? Was it last year we had it in Gleason? I thought it was.
Standard, then Gleason,
Well, was in Standard, it was in Gleason.
a couple years ago.
No.
Last year? Yeah, I missed it.
Ken Silver was there.
Oh,
and asked
right.
you about the FCM.
Right. Right,
That was in March.
okay. So change it to Carsland as the optimum, and if not Carsland, then Hazar. There you go. I'll give you two options. If you can't get Carsland, then we'll move it to Hazar.
And then in March, first week of March, second week of March?
I would prefer April. I like to go away in March.
So, no, I understand that. I guess we did have it later in March last year. And I guess it's up to council, but I guess the feeling with having it in March or even maybe the end of February, and I know there's snowbirds that are gone in February, but then we can give a draft budget to the public and discuss it. When we get in April, then it's almost too late for the public to have much input on
Okay.
that. That's the only comment that I would have.
Then according as I'll amend my motion then to late February, early March.
Everybody?
Okay? Does that work?
Because then that way we can truly give a drafted budget to the public and have some discussion on it.
You generally have a lot of trade shows in between those 2 months, but I will work with staff to just maybe see if we can't fit something in that time still. I just don't know. I can get the dates fairly shortly.
Okay.
If that's applicable to anybody.
Okay.
Okay, any other discussion on annual meeting?
So, Mr. Chairman, we'll bring back some possible dates in Carsland at the end of February, first week of March,
Okay,
and then at the next council meeting, and then you guys can discuss what dates you'd prefer to have.
okay.
Okay?
So Ben moved, so we'll have to vote on that motion. Then when it comes back for a date, then we'll have to have another motion. Okay, all in favor? Carried. Okay, banking signing authorities.
Mr. Chairman, is it normal practice to leave it as is? If that's doable, I would just make the motion that we authorize the same signing authorities as 2016.
Okay. Is there any questions? All in favor? Carried. Audit services.
Before we move on to that, on the last motion, do we need to name the Reeve deputy and Bernice?
Bernice.
Doesn't matter.
Perhaps you want to wait till after the appointments to the committees are established first?
Well, for the signing authorities?
Oh, the signing authorities?
That's all we're asking
You
about.
said the same as last year, so that's what
He was wondering if we needed to list the names, that's why.
we got the names from last year.
Okay.
If anybody wants to know who they are, I guess that's the only question. Audit services expire in 2019, so no motion is required unless council wants to go a different route, but we felt that KPMG did a good job last year, so we'd like to continue with them for 2016, 17, 18, and then 19, as per the original contract.
Okay.
So no motion is required on that.
We don't need a motion unless somebody's not very happy. No motions? Okay, we'll move on to 2016-17 committee appointments. There's a handout there with the paperclip on it. All the ones fill in, and I think the last 2 pages is what currently is there.
Through the chair, so that we don't end up wasting an hour going through each one of these. If anybody is dissatisfied with the committees they're sitting on, put those committees on the table, and the rest of them just remain as they are, if that works.
Does anybody want to change a committee? Brenda?
I've had a request from Councillor Booth. She is going to have to step down from Wild Rose Futures because of their bylaws within the organization. So she asked if it was possible that you can only be there so long and you have to step down on Wild Rose Futures.
Oh, really?
So she's asked if she could go on the housing and somebody else would like to take Wild Rose Futures because she's going to have to go off that particular committee essentially by default, right? So she was asking if she could switch to Wheatland Housing, if she could.
I'm trying to find that Wild Rose Futures. I think that's blank, the first page. We have to fill it all in. There's a second page. Yeah.
Wild Rose Futures.
Land analysis.
Have to give me a minute, I'm having trouble finding it.
2/3 of the way down. Right above Marigold.
Oh, there it is. So presently, we have Booth, and the alternate is Bland. I guess the bylaws wouldn't care who the alternate was they?
Well, no, and that's what she said, if you wanted, she'd stay on as an alternate, but I guess the other thing is, where's Wheatland Housing? Up at the top.
Allison's on there anyway.
Right,
Alternate.
and she'd like to go on as a regular, I guess.
Okay, we'll deal with Wild Rose Futures first, since we have a vacancy there. Does anyone care to want to join that up? Bernice, you were alternate. Would you like to go on that? No?
I'm interested in Wild Rose Futures,
Brenda's interested. Is
if nobody else is.
anyone else interested in it? Okay. Wild Rose. Community Futures, that's what.
Well, Alice said she'd stay as an alternate if she wanted.
Okay.
If however it worked out, she didn't.
Okay,
she
Alice
know-
for alternate. Anyone else want to be alternate?
Just a question through the chair.
Okay.
If Alice was on the committee and then to go on to an alternate, if she has to attend a meeting
But-
and vote on something, that's okay according to
That's
their
okay.
bylaws?
An alternate is just that she cannot sit on that board on a continuous basis. It's a 3-year term, and Alice has sat for her 3-year term. So she has to go off a year, and then she can go back on, but she can't stay. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I was told by her. I'm not familiar with it, so, but.
Okay. Okay. So right now, Wheatland Housing, we have Dawn and Bernice and myself with Alice as an alternate. Any of you want to step down or stay on, Bernice? You're staying on? Dawn? Stay, I'd like to stay too, for sure.
She is the alternate.
She is the alternate. We could just leave that as is then, if nobody wants to change. Okay, we'll mark that in here, alternate.
So if there's no other changes that anybody wants to see made, with the exception of Wheatland Housing and Community Futures, I'll move that the committees remain the same.
You didn't make any changes, no.
Okay.
Brenda, you had something else to say?
Well, Alice, I guess, was concerned about her committees because she's. That cuts her committee work down.
Any other comments? Anybody else want to change?
That would be the question. Does anybody want to change any of the committees they're currently sitting on?
I think, and it's definitely been more by choice, but I'm only on really on 2 active committees, which is the Wheatland Regional Corporation and my local seed plant. Other than that, my other committees Bow River Basin is 2 or 3 times a year, I believe. So I don't know that she has less than I do, so I don't know. I'm not sure what the point of my statement was, but it's essentially just to say that Councillor Knight is saying that there's an imbalance in the committee work between councillors. So I have a little less probably than the average. So do you? I mean, I'm fine with that. I'm more by choice right now, but I don't know that there's much we can do.
Well, just for discussion's sake, through the chair, a lot of these committees are, you're lucky if you meet once a year. There's only 2 or 3 or 4 of them that are actually active. There's a Drumheller Solid Waste, the SEWA, Housing, FCSS, WIDEMSA. Marigold meets twice a year, so other than that, the rest, you're there in name only. You're very seldom at a meeting. So I'll leave my motion on the floor that outside of Community Futures, that the committees remain as listed.
I just have a question.
Go ahead.
So through the chair to the CAO, the REEV, you actually have, you're an ex officio on all committees if you wanted to be. Is that not true?
I think that's part of the MGA, isn't it, or something like that?
So you're an ex officio on all committees, so you can attend if you want to. Is that what I'm gathering?
I don't know if I can just attend if I want to, or if I can attend with a council motion. Like the alternates, if you want to attend, takes a council motion. Otherwise, you attend if somebody else is not going.
The REEV is
next-
ex official to any committee that you have developed, but that doesn't give him voting authority on those committees. He can attend. Usually if there's an issue or a deemed issue that council might have with the representative, then the REEV goes and sits as a kind of a, call it, to bring back information back to council as to what's going on. But
Never go unless I was invited.
yeah, it's more of a, but he is ex official to any committee, but that doesn't give him voting privileges.
Okay, Ben moved that everything outside of Community Futures Wild Rose, change made there. Everything else remains the same. Any other discussion? Margaret?
Just to confirm.
Alternate would be Councillor
Ellis.
Booth for Wild Rose Futures. And if everything remains the same, would that also mean the Ag Service Board Chair and Vice Chair, is that part of it? Or is that coming up?
It's on the list.
It's on this list here.
But the committee appointments are separate than the nomination for the ASB chair.
Okay,
It's a separate motion.
okay, we'll do that way then. So everything excluding whatever is on the agenda. Does that make sense? Any questions? All in favor? Carried. Nominations for Ag Service Board Chair. I'll accept nominations now then. Don? What's it? I'm at a quarry here because he's technically not appointed yet. And is there anything with members at large? Can they be a chair? Yeah. Yeah, I know that. That's my quandary.
So then, do we skip to members at large and come back to this?
Or I'd like to know too, when we appointed members at large, were they able to be a chair? I thought there was something said about, I would need to have, you'd have to, should look at the policy first. If you don't have it in front of you, I'm sure. Huh?
I'll move that Don remain as chairman of the Ag Service Board.
Okay,
So Don would have to withdraw his motion.
yeah. You withdraw your motion then? Okay, any other nominations for chair? Any other nominations for chair? Congratulations, Don, you're chair of the Ag Service Board.
So, Mr. Chairman, in the future, if, we'll take a look at the policy, but I guess in the future, if public board member is to be chair, and if it's permitted in there, you'd have to ask permission to make sure that their name can stand. I don't know if you've done that for Mr. So. Did you? Okay. Okay, well, we'll double check on the policy.
And we'd have to rearrange the agenda too a little bit. That's fine, we can certainly. Yeah, okay. I wasn't aware, we could have had it checked. Okay, I'll take nominations for vice chair for Ag Service Board. Don? Rex? Any other nominations for vice chair? Any other nominations for vice chair? Third time, nominations for vice chair. Congratulations, Rex, you're the vice chair of Ag Service. ASB appointments, members at large. I believe we're looking for two. Any other? That's just an appointment. We just need a motion to appoint them. A motion to appoint them. Is there any discussion or questions?
Just, is that a council decision or is that an Ag Service Board decision?
Council appoints all committees, including Ag Service Board. So they'll be appointed till October 31st of next year.
Should we not have had a request for decision, same as what we have for the others? Should we have not had a request for decision that would have come on behalf of the Ag Service Board?
Through the chair, I think where Brenda's coming from, not to put words in her mouth, but the appointment for the ASB members at large was till October 31st, right? So at that time, do we go out for requests? We're only appointing them for a month? Or are we appointing them for a year?
The existing ones are appointed to October 31st of this year. You just made an appointment for Perry Ellis and Ken Silway for a further year to October 31st
Okay,
of
so for a
2017.
full year?
And at the next organization meeting, then it'll have to be dealt with again. It's only for a one-year.
And that's what you were talking about. Is
Yeah, because the other thing is there's a process, like if you're going to put a request for decision, then it should be, because do we not do our subdivision appeal boards? We do them at a certain time where people submit their names and do that?
That's correct. Tomorrow at the Ag Service Board, the policies are coming back because not all the policies were approved, as you know, at the last meeting. And there is going to be discussion on these things. The public members are a new thing that just came back
Right.
this year. So if you want to make changes, that would be the time to make changes at the policy stage. The policy doesn't specifically say that any of these public members cannot sit as chair or vice chair. So
But we
we should
need,
have the discussion tomorrow at the Ag Service on how the process, you want to see it move
Yeah.
forward from there.
because the process,
I would tend to agree with Councillor Knight that we should do the same process as we do the other committees. We did that initially, but we haven't done that because these people have only been on there, I think, for 6 months. I can't remember when council.
and I'm all right with that. It's
Yeah,
just
but
that
just moving
we need
forward.
to have a policy set in place for the next year that people can apply for the same positions. Because there may be other people that have interest in that. Yeah, that's fine. I'm just saying that, and then when it comes to our table next year, it should be in a request for decision on, and all those decisions should have been, the application should have been accepted and, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I'll move that council approve the appointment of Sarah Shoemaker as the inspector under Section 7.1 of the Weed Control Act, Section 10.1 of the Agriculture Pests Act, and an officer under Section 15.1 of the Soil Conservation Act for the term of her employment with Wheeline County's Agriculture Service Department. There you go.
So who was put on the list in place of Sarah? Do we need 6? Does somebody need to come off, or like, what is the impact, I guess is my question.
It's under my understanding that we appoint weed inspectors and those people throughout the year. So when they come on staff, we've made these motions throughout the year. Like we've made motions to designate new staff members as pest control under the act. So this is just Sarah, it's under my understanding, this is Sarah coming back to work, is that what I get? So this isn't really an appointment on a yearly thing, it's Sarah's just back to work, is what I gathered, isn't my,
So, Mr. Chairman, this just appoints Sarah to work on those projects if needed. Do we need 6? Maybe not, but it's nice to have extra people. Doesn't cost the county anymore to keep that up. They've all taken the training. It's just a matter of appointment. So, like, there's no new training required for Sarah because she was in that role before. So.
these ones are term positions, so they come up every so often. Each division comes up alternately, like,
Again, Mr. Chairman, I think it's a good comment, but it needs to be brought up at the Ag Service Board, in my opinion, and then that way the public members can have some input as well now that we've got some history again with it. But
I'll move the members that are listed until their appointed time and then deal with it at that time, to the end of their term, which would be Power and Daig for this year. December 31st, yeah.
All in favor? Carried. And Community Enhancement Regional Board, Herb appointments.
I will so move the the individuals as listed.
Any questions or concerns? All in favor? Carried. Upcoming 2017 conferences, AMDNC and FCM.
I'll move that it be the same as per our policy, that all of council and administration for AMD and C and 3 of council for FCM and administration, is that what it's currently now?
What's our current policy?
Yeah, so the AMDNC, it's all of council and administration. And for FCM, it has been 3 members of council, not staff. Yeah.
That's what he said, yeah.
Oh, is that what you said? I thought you said staff, yeah.
Well, three council, and I wasn't sure if staff was FCM or not, so.
Okay. Any questions, concerns, amendments? Everybody's so quiet today. Must be the weather. All in favor? Carried. Counselor orientation binder update. It's getting pretty heavy.
I'm not sure I understand it, Mr. Chairman. Should we go through it page for page?
Yeah, for sure.
I'll move that we accept it with the additions that Margaret has filled in the last week or 2 that she's had the binder. I'm not going to sit here and go through the whole thing. Unless there's something specific that our CAO has to offer. You got
Is
anything?
there a list of the changes, or is it, what was the changes? More dates, or? Is there some? Yeah.
The changes, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, the changes include legislative policy section. There's a number of policies that were revised throughout the year. There is a most recent organizational chart. The consolidated financial statements for 2015 are included. And the bylaw 2016-09, which is the 2016 taxation bylaw, is also included. So those are the changes that have been added to the binder, Mr. Chairman. So for next year, now that the dates have been set, and as council made a motion to set the dates for council meetings, also you notice in there was an organizational meeting. On that organizational meeting, as likely will be required under the new Municipal Government Act, we will be budgeting and including a session with legal counsel to come in and speak with council in the afternoon. So the organizational meeting will be a full day organizational meeting, not tied to the same, similar to what we did to the last election. At this point, it's not mandatory for council to attend, but it certainly would be nice for any new councillors to attend that. I know it's a lot to grasp for new people, a lot of information, but it is good information to start out with. So that'll be the moving forward.
So that's for next year.
Yeah.
We're going to be discussing this later on different I just want to throw it out there. I know when I was orientation, and I'm sure everyone here, that first day was, I can hardly remember it, there was so much stuff. And there was comments made after that we don't do it, or we didn't do it, or was this and that. I'm wondering, is there any benefit after 6 months or the next year, the next orientation, that we have a, doesn't have to be a full-blown day, but maybe another briefer or a polish up or a reminder type thing? Go ahead.
I certainly agree, Mr. Chairman. No problem at all. We can do another session with all of council in 3 months or 6 months and 9 months. I've done that with other councils, you know, where I've seen a turnover in council from 6 new members out of 7, and you have to pretty much do that. Otherwise, people get really bogged down and confused on all the rules and regulations that we have
Okay.
in the government, in the municipal government sector, which you don't have to deal with in the private sector. So certainly a great idea.
Okay, well, we'll see how it goes.
But I mean, if it's all the same counselors, then it may be a bit of a moot point because you guys are all very well experienced. But for certainly for new people, it's hard coming in. I know,
Yeah.
I've seen it before. Yeah, it's
always the new
baptism
one.
by fire sometimes, right, too. The unfortunate part is that under the new municipal government, and I think it's good, I have no problem at all, we're mandated to provide a session, right? But it's not mandated for the councillors to attend. That's the unfortunate part. Because you don't get the benefit unless you're able to attend. So that's good. I mean, not everybody can attend certain dates either, so
That's right.
I think that would be a great idea to do it in 3 months. And
I
then
guess
maybe in 6 months.
next orientation day, that would be a good discussion
A
topic.
Good discussion.
for-
We'll make sure we put it on the agenda
Yeah.
for follow-up orientation.
Right,
We'll just call it follow-up orientations, and whether we want to do another 3 months, 6 months for the first year, or it depends on the makeup of the council, right?
that's right. Yeah, you'll know by then what it's gonna look like,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's a good idea.
and before we close,
Motion to accept the finding.
oh, okay. Somebody make that motion, Brenda? Ben did? Okay,
Motion to accept the binder as amended.
yeah. All in favor? Carried. And another thing we're supposed to do yearly is our CAO performance review. I don't think it's part of this. It's at the council meeting this afternoon? Okay. Okay,
So the only other thing, Mr. Chairman, we forgot on the agenda was signing authority for Wedemza. In the past, we've had an additional member appointed by council for signing of Wedemza board matters. So this would be the 3rd elected official with signing authority. Currently, we have on there
Bernice.
Land. So I don't know if she's willing to let her name stand. So just a motion in that regard, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Sometimes when Bernice isn't around, check signing, I actually sign some of them checks too. I'm also on the Wedemza board. I don't know if I should be named on that too, or Ben. It was come as a request from the Wedemza board that we have some.
Chairman, you're already assigning authority by the previous motion, but Bernice isn't.
Yes, she was.
Oh, no, she's right, you're right.
Good counselor.
Oh, okay. Okay, need a motion for Bernice. For Wedemza. Don? Wedemza. Any questions? All in favor? Carried. Anything else?
Actually, the motion, the way Don read it, it was just for Wedemza. Right, it should be. Original one, it was just and a counselor, so now we're naming another counselor for a signing authority. Read that she's signing authority for Wheatland County, but also as the main signer for the Wedemza. Otherwise, she can't do the other because she hasn't been named.
Well, she was named in the previous motion, though, this kind of,
Just as a counselor, but you haven't named that counselor to this. One Don just put on the table, named her as assigning authority for Wademza only. Mm-hmm.
But no, a previous mo-
Wheatland County and Wademza.
okay. Okay, I'll accept that, but a previous motion for signing authorities on the agenda, we said same as last year, which included Bernice. Yeah, it was on the agenda. Look it up here on 2.3A. Yeah,
So this is a signing
Okay.
authority for Wademsa. Authorities, did you?
yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay, that clear? Okay. And we voted on that? Yep. Okay. Anything else? Anything else? Okay.
I still had that motion for Alice. She has requested me to do that.
Okay.
Did you put it in?
Okay. All in favor? Carried. Anything else? Adjourn? All in favor? Carried, thank you.